Crowhill here. Today we review an IPA and ask, is Maryland as bad as California? Hey, Pigweed, good to see you.
Hello. How about some beer and conversation?
I think that's a fantastic idea. What are we drinking?
This is a fairly local IPA.
Okay, fantastic. That sounds good.
What's on your mind?
Well, I've been wondering, back when I was deciding where to buy a house, I had certain thoughts about, where I wanted to live.
Sure.
And that was back when I had little children in the house and all that. My standards for where I wanted to live and why have changed radically.
Yeah.
And, the way I look on cities and states and all that is different, because now I'm thinking more about retirement and other kinds of issues.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Now, before we get into that, let's get what is going on in my beer?
There's a lot of floaties going on in here.
I know. I tell you what.
It's almost like the glass was dirty or something, but it
right.
wasn't.
I tell you what, a lesser seasoned beer drinker would
say, "What?
Would send this back to the bartender and say,
"Get this
there's
out
garbage
of here.
in my beer.
I can filter this or something." Yeah, there's a lot of floaties.
There's a lot of floaties, but that doesn't necessarily mean the bad thing.
No, it doesn't. No, it's not necessarily bad.
So it means this is from Lost Rhino in Ashburn, Virginia.
Yes,
and to me, it says it was not particularly filtered.
Not filtered.
And maybe it was, could it be can carbonated?
Could be. That's actually
like
an interesting
natural
question.
Carbonation, so which is going to leave behind some residue.
Yeah.
And, I mean, look at the way that
I know.
What is going on over there?
There's a lot of stuff floating around in this beer. I would imagine little fish going around and trying to eat those things.
It's like extra hops and stuff. It looks a lot like a homebrew.
Yes.
Except for non-filtered usually gives you that sort of hazy, cloudy look. Particularly.
Not hazy, cloudy. Just a bunch of stuff floating around.
It's just a bunch of stuff floating around.
Yeah, but it's delicious. And it has a
smells great.
Has a fantastic aroma.
You can tell by the color it probably has some malty backbone.
Yes.
And it does.
Yes,
when
it
you
does.
taste it, it's not all hop all the time.
Yeah, it's actually quite delicious. I like it. My one complaint is, what's with the floaties?
What's with the floaties? But do not be frightened.
No.
Do not return it to the store.
There is nothing in your beer that's going to harm you. The alcohol kills the bad stuff. The fermentation process and the alcohol kills the bad stuff. So, and whatever floaties are in there, they're fine. Might be little bits of hops or little coagulated bunches of yeast or something, but it's not going to hurt you.
You'll be fine.
Everything's fine. Yeah.
So, this is a very blue state.
Yes.
And you people might have just forgotten how blue it is by the fact that we had 8 years of a Republican governor, and really, the Bob Ehrlich wasn't that long ago.
That's right.
And he was a Republican.
That's right.
Now, of course, by MAGA standards, these are, anti-Trump, squishy, fake-ass rhinos. Dude, you're in Maryland.
Yes.
All right? This is as good as it's going to get.
These are not Utah Republicans.
Yeah.
They are Maryland Republicans, which means barely Republican.
It means barely, but at least it's not what our current governor is, and we will get to that. So, yes, so we had a very popular...
Very popular. Hogan was a very popular governor.
Governor, and most popular in the country.
Yeah.
In this very blue state.
Yes.
And we have forgotten just how blue the legislature is. Something like...
It's like 95% Democrat.
That's not that bad, but it's like 100 to 30. Okay, it's like 3 to 1 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good.
No.
So the fact that he was the only way to hold off full-blown leftist crazy is to have a governor who will fight that. So let's look at what happens when you don't have a governor.
Who fights it.
Fight that.
Yeah, because now you've got a left-wing nut of a governor.
Governor...
who's Westmore, who's going along with the crazy leftists in the legislature. So we're going to get this hard left tilt, and it's going to ruin the state.
That we kind of forgot that how left the General Assembly is in Annapolis.
Yeah.
Because we had
Hogan holding back,
doing whatever he could to put his finger in the dike. Now, Governor Moore, the first time I heard him on WBAL, doing his pitch early. He was recently elected, and he's the guy who you go, wow. I mean, impressive record.
Yeah.
Committed to service.
Yeah.
Military background.
Yes.
Very well spoken. Very articulate.
Yes.
And then you start to get into a little bit too articulate, if that's such a thing. Where now it's starting to seem a little smarmy.
Yeah.
It's starting to see a little slick, Willie.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the way he handled the Bronze Star thing is an example of that.
All right, well, let me just do the broad picture here, and we'll get into the particulars. So broadly, when I think of the slick and smarmy, I say, or you meet a guy who's very impressive and very well spoken, and you're like, wow, this guy is something else. And then very soon you're like, what's this guy selling? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm getting some Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
I'm getting some Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
I'm getting some Pete Buttigieg.
You're just waiting for him to take the Amway thing out of his pocket.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
And I put Governor Moore with those three guys.
Yeah.
And so so there is an X account called what is it? No More or something like that.
Okay.
There is a no. It's called Wes Moore's Bronze Star.
Yeah.
I'm like, what does that even mean? I mean, the guy is a decorated veteran.
Yeah.
He's the account is so anti-Moore. I'm like, why would he call it?
Yeah.
Moore's Bronze Star. Can you enlighten this?
Well, first of all, I just want to say we're going to be very critical of Wes Moore, but I do want to say thank you for your service.
He was in Afghanistan. He saw combat.
That's right.
Yeah. No. It's not right. He's not the Waltz who never left the United States and claimed to be in combat.
That's right.
The man saw action.
That's right.
And he led men.
Yes. So we have to be thankful for that.
Yes.
Now, his Bronze Star. Supposedly, he did not get a Bronze Star, but Colbert, the late night comedian, for some reason thought that he got a Bronze Star. I think that like somebody with the same name got a Bronze Star or something like that. And he said to now Governor Wes Moore, you got the Bronze Star, and he didn't correct him. So that was,
I see. Is that the beginning of
that's the beginning of it. But then there's also
the New York Times came in.
Yeah, some application that he made for some position in the government somewhere. I don't remember exactly what the details were, but he claimed in the application that he had a Bronze Star, and he claims that like his superior officer told him that he could do that, or I don't know.
Right.
Some very strange.
And then he was challenged while he was running.
Yeah,
and he
said, "Oops, it was a mistake."
No. He didn't back off on it until he was then checked again after becoming governor.
Oh,
and then he was like, "Oh, that old thing. Well, yeah, honest mistake."
Yeah. It wasn't a bronze. It was a copper star, not a bronze star.
I filled out the paperwork and then I forgot to follow up on it.
Yeah.
And then when people told me I had the Bronze Star, I just kind of assumed that I got, or something weird, right? Mm-hmm. But he has such a great way of speaking. It's like, I'm just proud of my service. I'm proud that I led men in combat.
It's kind of like
he's really good. He is really, trust me, he was considered for the running mate of Kamala Harris, and he would have been better than that guy.
Oh gosh,
and trust me, you may see him, you may see him on the national stage. But I said that about Martin O'Malley too, and that never happened. So.
Yeah, so he reminds me in some ways of Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is so slick. I heard him. Did you see any of his interview with Charlie Kirk?
Yeah,
he is so slick.
I know, but I'm
slimy,
so over
horrible person, but very slick.
But. If you don't have your antenna up, he
can fool you.
He's impressive.
Yeah,
in the same Buttigieg, kind of Bill Clinton, now of all four of these guys, remind me just of each other. Like, gosh, wow, that guy's really impressive. oppressive. Until you finally, get out of his stare.
Yeah.
After you've been hypnotized, you're like,
you walk away and you're like, wait a minute, what happened there? I don't get
that
it.
guy's greasy as hell.
Yeah. Yes.
So anyway, that's our new mayor who, governor, who inherited a $5 billion surplus,
and I think he spent all of it and some,
and $3.4 billion in the first 2 years. So $8 billion
just flushed down the toilet.
And now, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do now that you're $3.5 billion in the hole? You raise taxes,
of course.
We
already have high taxes in Maryland, and they're going to have to raise them even more. Because
I don't know.
People...
And if people could say, even if more people could say, that's true, and we are going to have to raise taxes, but look what we got for the money.
Yeah, what did we get?
I haven't heard anybody even
I haven't
made
seen any
the claim.
new roads or anything. I mean, what did we get? Remember when everybody used to say tax and spend liberals? We don't say that so much.
We don't say it enough.
I know we don't say it enough and unfortunately the reason we don't say it enough is because the dumb Republicans have been spending like nuts.
What about you? And they're right. That's what they could say, and you're like,
just as bad as the liberals. But so Maryland is like the definition of tax and spend liberals. Under Moore, under Hogan, there was some discipline. We had a surplus, and now under Moore, they're just burning through money like nothing. 2 years makes a big difference. So here we go. Governor Hogan, $4.7 billion surplus, and then with Moore, spent $6.9 billion and wants $6.9 million in new taxes and fees
to make up for all the money that he's already spent.
Hogan cut a lot of fees.
God, when he cut the price to go across the Bay Bridge, all he did, he cut the price to go across the Bay Bridge, and then he moved the school year after Labor Day.
Yeah.
Boom! He was already the most loved man in the whole state.
Yep.
And they moved. Moore moved the date back so the school starts before Labor Day again. Just because
he's in bed with the teachers union and everything else. Yeah.
So in order to do this, so you saw the business to business tax.
Yeah. That
every business hates. I saw this great list of all of the big, national corporation names that moved to Virginia and not Maryland. Mm-hmm. And Maryland and
why would you move from business to Maryland? Why?
And that has been Virginia's. Have you heard this pitch here lately? Yeah, don't Maryland Virginia or something like that.
Okay,
right? Don't right. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to keep Virginia from being like Maryland.
Well, Virginia is not as conservative as it used to be. It's basically a purple state now. Yeah. But Virginia used to be a little more conservative.
That's all the D.C. spillover, and
exactly. maybe Northern Virginia.
But maybe once some of these federal jobs get A, cut, or B, moved out of D.C.
Maybe that'll change.
We'll see.
Yeah, but Virginia is if you want to open a business in this area, absolutely do not go to Maryland.
Amazon, all these big corporations that want to move their headquarters close to D.C.
Yeah,
they're all going to Virginia.
Of course. Now, do you remember the tax they did on yachts? Or it's like they destroyed the Maryland boat industry. They said we're gonna
these rich people with their big yachts. We're gonna stick it to them.
We're gonna tax the man.
Who got stuck?
The poor guy who made the boats.
The engineers, the craftsmen, the builders.
The guy who's working there in some Annapolis shop, building yachts, reservicing yachts, working on yachts. Those guys all lost. The millionaires, they said, okay, fine, we'll buy it from Virginia. That's no skin off their back.
They build all kinds of... how about this? The legislature is pushing a 2 cent per ounce tax on drinks, even those with no sugar. So this is supposed to be some health benefit, get people off sugary drinks.
Yeah.
But of course, if they're diet non-sugar drinks, they get taxed the same. So that's 2 liters is basically 64 ounces, roughly. So $1.25 increase on something that costs $3.50 or whatever. So it's $3.50 now. It's going to be $5. A $500 million cash grab.
And what are they going to spend this money on?
Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know where this deficit came from. I don't know where the $5 billion that was left over into $3 new billion. So now they're Maryland's the Moody's rating. You know, like how healthy your it says that Maryland, Alaska, and Hawaii are due for recession.
Great.
Right. So it's not a national thing. This is. Now, of course, their reaction is going to be, well, we have a lot of federal workers that are being fired by DOJ.
But that didn't happen. That's not the explanation. That's not what happened now.
No, it's not.
All the deficit we have now has nothing to do with DOJ.
No.
It has to do with Wes Moore's mismanagement and the crazy. See, the problem is, if you look at historically, it's better financially to have divided government. It's almost when you have a Republican in charge and then you have a Republican legislature, they spend on all their pet projects. And when you have a Democrat in charge and a Democratic legislature, they spend on all their pet projects. When you have divided government, it tends to suppress the overspending.
And that often happens, and that just shows sort of the wisdom of the masses, right? It's like we're not deciding that really. It's just like, you know what? We don't trust any. Which is the proper view for the citizen.
Yes,
is we do not trust any of these SOBs.
Right.
So let's get them fighting, and hopefully they don't do too much damage.
Exactly. If they're fighting among themselves, then they're probably
nobody has so much power that we can all get ramrodded.
That's right. Yes. Unfortunately, now we have a Democratic governor and Democrat House and Senate in Maryland, so we have just ridiculous liberal spending on every kind of crazy thing that they want.
So let's go. So we want to stick with the money, or do you want to do other aspects of?
Just generally speaking, Maryland is very liberal. In terms of support for unions, in terms of minimum wage laws, greenhouse gas stuff. Legalized marijuana, on all the social issues, Maryland is very liberal.
Yes, they. Now, I would have to say, in defense of sanity, the proposal to put condom machines in elementary schools has failed.
Did you even know what a condom was? Did you even know what a condom was in elementary school?
You better not. And now, hold on. I got some more information here. Since we're in this range, were you taught about the gender expression, gender identity, sexual orientation, transgenderism, and transitioning? Had you ever heard? I heard of these things 5 years ago.
No.
It's certainly not in elementary school.
No.
Now, not only are we going to teach these things, a bill to allow parents to opt out failed.
Oh, right.
So you can't even not want your kid to learn about transition.
Which is one of the main reasons why.
Unbelievable.
One of the main reasons why we homeschooled was because we didn't want to have. If you live in Maryland, homeschool or send your kids to a private school. Don't put up with this nonsense. It's crazy.
So it's tolerance and let people do what they want, and don't force anything on anybody else. Yeah. Well, talking about your slippery slope. Mm-hmm. Now you have cases where I don't know if it's here. I think it was in Britain. The school. So when you send a permission slip home to a parent, the parent can look at it and go, "Do I give my permission?
That's what you think the permission slip is about.
Right? Yeah. I would say if we're going to a farm and a vegan family doesn't want their kids going to a place where animals are raised for slaughter, and they say, no, we don't want our kids to go there, I say that's fine.
Sure.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's fine. That's their business.
But you cannot opt out of taking your kids to a gay pride parade.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how were they going to arrest the parents? I don't know how you would punish the parents, or what do you give the kid a failing grade or whatever? I don't know how you cannot opt out. So it's not that, just tolerate it. No, you must swallow.
You must comply. And this is the myth of liberal tolerance. Liberal tolerance means
never about tolerance.
It's not about tolerance whatsoever. I mean, all these things, it's packaging. It's the way they label things. They label things in a complete backwards way, so that intolerance
and
tolerance is tolerance is intolerance. And trying to tell people that, we're going to be tolerant of all views, except, we're not tolerant of those views, obviously. Yeah, so that's the way Maryland
Well, while
is.
we're in the schools, can I give you some more school stuff?
Yeah.
And I need you to give me some of this, what's it called? The Blueprint for America's Future.
Right.
$30 billion.
Yes.
But before we get there, so I have good news. Maryland high school graduation rates are up. Fantastic. I mean, look at that. Isn't that great?
No, but I'm sure.
Hold on. A 7-year high after the state took away requirements to graduate.
Well, of course. I mean, it's kind of like let's eliminate crime by just making everything legal.
And then look at the stats.
Yeah.
Hey, oh wow.
Yeah,
we
don't have enough people graduating.
Murder didn't go down, but arrests for murder did.
That's right.
Well, good.
Not enough people are graduating, so let's just eliminate any standards for graduation, and then more people will graduate. What a great idea!
Yeah. All right. Very good. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So,
but we do have in-state tuition for undocumented immigrants. If you live in Virginia, you don't get in-state tuition in Maryland. But if you're an undocumented immigrant, you get in-state tuition.
So you can't come across from Pennsylvania.
Right, but you can come from Guatemala and get in-state tuition in Maryland.
Right, when you're not even legally supposed to be in the country, you get advantages that Pennsylvanians
don't. And that's the kind of insane thinking we have in Maryland.
You can't, so let's stick with the schools. You can't suspend bad students.
Okay, sure.
And there is a case locally here.
As if they're coming to school anyway. What are the stats
we have a convicted
in Baltimore?
Rapist in school in Hartford County.
But what are the stats in Baltimore about like how frequently kids actually go to school?
Yeah. No, the absentee rates are atrocious.
They like go to school one day a week or something.
And you cannot hold a kid back, and you cannot kick out an unruly student. Mm-hmm. What are your expectations for?
How are you supposed to manage a classroom if you can't get rid of the unruly kids who are making it unmanageable? What's the teacher supposed to do? Even if you had like a well-meaning, well-trained, smart, great teacher come into a classroom, and then you have a bunch of unruly kids who are who
can't be kicked out of class.
Who can't be kicked out of class. What are you supposed to do?
And how long is that teacher going to stay there?
Right.
And then you're wondering why we have a 1,400 teacher deficit.
Right.
In the state.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you stay in that kind of
because they're not giving it enough money. Getting to money. How about $30 billion for schools for the blueprint for Maryland's future?
Yeah. So there were so many problems with the blueprint. One of the big problems was there was no accountability.
Right.
We didn't have the money, couldn't pay for it. There was no accountability. There was no way to measure any kind of success. It was a giveaway to the education industry. They were trying to say, okay, we're going to raise salaries for teachers. Okay, fine. Maybe
and hire some more administrators.
Yes. That's another part of it, is there was so much. It was moving control. Yeah, it was moving control to the state. So there wasn't local control, it was state control. But that required a bunch more administration. So there's already too many administrators in the schools. When we went to the high school we went to, there were 2 vice principals. Now, in that same school, there are 8 vice principals.
There's 2 vice principals, and there's 1 guidance counselor for each grade, and some office people. What the heck? And the janitors. What the heck else do you need except for teachers?
Right.
No. Now it's all administrators.
Now there's tons of administrators because they have to do a bunch of paperwork for the No Child Left Behind Act and for this stupid blueprint in Maryland. They have to have there's additional paperwork, there's additional reporting, there's additional everything else. So basically all it is a jobs program for administrators in the education department.
And you can't. There was, where did I hear this? It was a school district, not in Maryland. They just actively went out and went to the parents' homes of kids that are chronically absent and said, what the hell is the problem?
Right.
And then address the problem individually.
Okay.
And guess what? It improved. The other thing that they did was they said, if you can't read by the 3rd grade, you get held back.
Well, as you should be, yes.
Yeah, I mean, right.
There was
right now. I think that the schools are so. I don't know how you change this, because you have to judge the schools on some objective level.
Yeah.
And if the objective level is how many kids graduate or how many kids get passed along,
yeah.
then you have kids. Then you just have kids graduating who can't read and write, and so. If you said in the 3rd grade you can't read and write, all right, I'm going to give you 1 year. If in the 4th grade you're not up to 4th grade level, you're doing 4th grade again, and you get with the parents, or something a little bit more than.
Did you hear about the kid who is suing the state because she graduated with honors from high school and couldn't read?
Yeah, this is Massachusetts, and got accepted to college.
Wow.
And so, you know what she does? She has a voice. She uses voice to text.
Okay.
To do her homework.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what she does about reading.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I was going to say because in my mind, you still get paper handouts. Mm-hmm. I think that happens anymore, right? Everything
probably not.
Everything comes in your laptop.
But I guess you just put the play button, And
No, but what I'm saying is, what would you do with a handout? Then I'm going, well, they don't get handouts. It comes electronically on their laptops, and so you can get that thing to read it to you.
Yeah, you probably
no doubt,
can. You probably
right?
can.
And so now she's honors.
What people are going to say?
Unbelievable.
What people are going to say is. It's not necessary to read anymore because you're always able to just hit the play button and have the computer read to you.
Yeah, yeah. So at first I was outraged by her assertion, but then I thought, well, I don't know. Maybe this is what it takes. Maybe this is okay that my first thought was, you're suing the school system? Because you can't read? How much effort did you put into learning how to read, and your parents, and you're blaming the school system? And then I'm like, well, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you get past the 3rd grade?
Well, so here's another perspective on this.
Yeah.
Is the perspective of the parent.
Yeah.
Who says, look, I'm getting these report cards that say that my child is doing fine. She's getting an A in English. She's getting an A in math. She's getting an A in science. And then years go by, and I keep getting these report cards saying the kid is doing well, the kid is advancing. And then I find out in 10th grade the kid can't read.
Now, of course, you never sat down with the kid in 1st grade with Dr. Seuss,
right?
And
that's a huge problem.
Had the kid demonstrate to you that they can do their ABCs.
Yes.
So yes, that's a problem. But you're totally right.
Yeah. The parents are getting this feedback from the school saying your kid is doing not only. Because what is it? A C is average, An A is you're doing well. Not only are you doing okay, you're doing well, and you're getting this feedback from the school. The professionals, the experts, are telling you that your kid is fine, and then you realize, wait a minute, can you read that sign over there, please? What does that say?
And on my glasses.
Yeah, right. It's not my thing. So Maryland. We've been talking a lot about education because education is a huge problem. But, we have legalized marijuana. We have expanded Medicaid.
We love our abortions and our trans surgeries.
That's right. Yeah. We ended cash bail. And believe me, I think there really needs to be some reform to the bail system. But what they've done has been a bad influence on the ability of the police to control violence.
Yeah, there's more California type stuff. We've closed 7 power plants to force green energy on us, but we don't have the energy to replace it, and so now our electricity is
getting more expensive.
That's
right. Yeah, but they do.
While at the same time, go ahead.
They do want to spend money to put solar cells on my roof, which is stupid.
And we have a gas car ban coming up, so that we're producing less electricity, and we're forcing you to buy an electric car.
Yes, somehow that's going to work, right? Because we have less power, but we're going to overwhelm the grid with more people trying to charge their electric cars. That's just genius thinking. We also have automatic voter registration at the DMV. So people who are really shouldn't be voting are getting the opportunity to register to vote. Baltimore has some of the highest homicide rates in the country, and Maryland is a mess. It's just plain a mess.
Hold on, we got this one here. Let me finally get some. Now, none of I don't have kids buying condoms in schools anymore.
They don't have to buy them; they're in the bathrooms.
Or getting transitions or whatever. We've got speaking, the correlation to California. Maryland now wants the same $20 minimum wage that is killing jobs in California.
Yeah, gosh.
That's just so much great thinking here.
Okay, listen, people. The minimum wage is $0. That's just the way it is. Yeah. Sorry.
Now this one here actually is going to touch me, so I'm going to spend a minute or two. What do you call the highway? The gas tax pays for highway maintenance.
Yeah.
That seems fair, right? Yes. I mean, like the more you drive, the more you contribute to the car repair, and that comes out in the gas tax. But the EVs aren't paying the gas tax.
Well, and they're causing more damage to the highways because they weigh more.
They're so heavy. So, so they have a $125 a year user fee that's going to be their share of the gas tax that they're not paying that I am paying.
Yeah.
Well, that's not good enough. Now we're going to have a mileage tax.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to put something on your car. If you have to go somewhere and report your odometer reading at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, for EVs and cars, wait for it, and cars that get more than 25 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
So now they have pressured the industry to always increase
miles per
gallon. And
now they're going to punish them for it.
I say, well, I have a pretty long commute, so my car gets 38 miles to the gallon. So I think that's a good thing, right? You will be punished, sir.
Yeah.
You get grouped in with the EV crowd, and you too will pay extra for daring to not burn enough gas.
Yeah, it's amazing how bad. It's amazing how bad people can be about understanding incentives. Like they want to say, so from the greenhouse gas perspective thing, they want to say we want to move everybody onto electric vehicles because that's going to save the environment, which of course is complete BS. But anyway, that's the story. That's the story that they're telling. So let's assume it's true. But then they say, hey, wait a minute. Now we're not getting enough revenue from the gasoline tax. Let's have a tax on the electric vehicles. So you've completely upset your whole thing.
And at the same time, and we're going to have a gas car ban like California, coming up in 2035 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I need to go out and buy like a 1969 Ford Fairlane or something.
Fury, and just say I'll just fix it myself, and I'll burn all the gas I want, and I won't get stuck with this stupid.
Yes, but you said how are they going to manage this in terms of like people have to file a form? The car is going to be equipped with technology that just reports the mileage straight to the state.
Exactly, and you'll say I don't want that. Well, it's too late because it's already built. It's already built in your car because the manufacturer is being forced to put it in the car, and you can't opt out.
And you can't go in and like turn it off or anything.
You can't opt out of anything. Yeah. So how about do you want to do? Let's stick with economy, and then we'll get on to illegal immigrants.
Okay.
So
we're gonna have a 60%.
First, more adds 5,000 executive level jobs. We need 5,000 more government workers. For some reason.
It's just a giveaway. It's a giveaway to his political cronies, of course.
Yes. And then that was before the layoffs came, the federal layoffs, which Maryland, Prince George's County is Prince George's and Montgomery County are extremely, are some of the richest counties in the country. Is it from their entrepreneurial spirit?
No, and because they work for the government.
Because they all work for the government, right? So now that there are jobs being lost in the government, there's the panic, and now we need a program. Hold on. Let me read you something here about this super necessary program. Governor Wes Moore will announce Friday an effort to help place fired federal workers and government contractors in state and county jobs across Maryland. Well.
And we have no money to pay for any of this.
No. He's already hired 5,000 people before this. So let's just say you work for the Department of Agriculture, and now wouldn't you say every county, states, and counties have their own departments of
agriculture, right?
You would go no. But we need a state government program to help you go to that. What are we gonna? We're gonna create a new job in Maryland that the same as the federal one that you had, so that you don't lose anything, so that you can come here, so we're gonna pay you so that we get your tax revenue. Is that a moneymaker?
No, of course not. By the way, I did work for the Department of Agriculture for a brief time.
Oh.
Yeah, I was doing chemical experiments on silage. Which is silage is the stuff you put in silos.
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, my nephew was in the county farm, whatever, and now he works for the state. And yeah, there are lots of great jobs, but you don't need to create new jobs just for the federal or for whatever job that you lost at the federal government level.
The University of Maryland used to be an agricultural college. Because Maryland was a big agricultural state. We had a lot of tobacco farming.
Every day I drive by a sign through the Maryland Agricultural that says the Poultry Research Center. And I always think, what are they doing over there?
Yeah, right.
Hopefully they're not killing all the chickens.
Yeah. The idea that the federal government is going to lay these people off, and now we're going to hire them in Maryland.
I know.
That is such it is such an anti-Trump, pro-Democrat giveaway. It's nothing
and
more
we're just going to we'll raise some taxes and create jobs
Yes.
that we don't need because we didn't need them before, but now they already live in Maryland and they're used to having a government job. God forbid they go out in the market and see if their skills are valuable somewhere else.
Right.
No, we'll just give them. We'll replace the federal job with the government job.
Just give everybody a job. Universal basic income, and that's the way it'll be.
So how about this one here? Can I move on to ICE and?
Well, I do want to make sure we mention environmental regulations. We're supposed to have a 60% reduction in greenhouse emissions by 2031 and 100% clean energy by 2035.
100%.
100% clean energy.
All right. Well, it's not going so good.
No.
And we're going to be demanding increased amounts of electric usage.
Does anybody pay attention to what happens other places in the world? Germany tried to do this.
Spain is in the toilet.
Yeah, and they tried to do it and it completely failed. And now they're going back to building coal plants because they tried to get rid of their nuclear power plants to say, okay, nuclear power is a horrible thing and we need to build, wind and solar and all this stuff. It didn't work. And now they're having to build gas and oil and coal-fired plants in order to meet energy demand. Here's the reality. Coal and gas and oil work. Wind and
on
solar.
Demand.
Yes.
When you need them, no matter what the weather is.
Yes. Nuclear also works. Nuclear is a great solution. I wish we would move. I also want to move off of coal. Let's move coal to nuclear. But you have this strange, idiotic liberal idea that we're not going to do the power that works. We're going to do fairy energy, solar and wind, which doesn't work and demonstrably doesn't work. And at the same time, we're going to add a whole lot more demand on the system by requiring people to have electric vehicles.
Yes.
It's absolute insanity. Yeah.
Very California.
Yes. Very California.
And that's
you had another whole topic here. You said.
Well, it's just the whole sanctuariness of the thing. Now we've got in Prince George's County, they arrested a MS-13 dude who is a gang leader.
Okay.
Wanted for murder in El Salvador, had him in custody, released him, then ICE had to go hunt him down in Hyattsville and finally catch the guy. Why are we doing this? Okay, so Hyattsville, that area, very Hispanic.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so maybe you are resistant to the idea of ICE swooping in at the Home Depot parking lot and just picking up random people. How about the already arrested guy who's wanted for murder in another country? Can we start there? Can we at least get that guy out of the country?
You would hope so, but I have a very hard time getting into the mind of people who think that somebody who is arrested for a violent crime, because they're an illegal immigrant, therefore they get a get out of jail free card.
And so as a politician, do you think this wins you points with the local Hispanic community to maintain gang leaders and murderers in their community? Is that how you win their support?
Of course not. That's why Trump got more black and Hispanic votes this time, because people are like, no, we want the police in our neighborhoods. We want these people off the street. These people are the people who are trying to date our daughters, the people who are trying to recruit our sons into their gangs, the people who are terrorizing us, the people who are causing trouble in our neighborhood. Throw them away.
Okay, so I saw a poll that said 54% of Marylanders have considered leaving the state. Mm-hmm. They threw this in the face of the governor and the Baltimore mayor. And so let's just say you were one of, are you in the 53?
I've certainly considered it.
Okay, so you're at least take consider. All right, let's just take it one step further. Mm-hmm. You have close family and friendship ties, so you don't want to go too far. Where would you go into one of our neighboring states? Yeah, if you just want to go across the border.
Yeah, it would have to be Virginia, because Pennsylvania is too far. Getting from here to Virginia is easy. Right. Pennsylvania is a little bit more of a travel, and Virginia, Virginia is overcrowded. Northern Virginia is way overcrowded.
I like Virginia too, but I don't want to live in Alexandria or Arlington.
It's way
so
crowded.
You have to get out. You have to go to Leesburg, which is very nice.
Yes,
I like Leesburg, but now you still are like if you're Leesburg and just going to go visit the grandkids for the day.
Yeah,
that's rough.
It's a long drive.
It's 2 hours both ways.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you're still going Virginia?
I think so.
I don't know.
How about you?
Oh gosh! Well, I've got family that lives at the beach, so I could be in Joe Biden's neighborhood in Rehoboth, Delaware.
Yeah.
But in a way, I would kind of rather go to West Virginia, Harper's Ferry / Shepherdstown.
Yeah, so I've thought about West Virginia. West Virginia is a possibility, but the other side of it is, maybe this is unfair to West Virginia, but I just think that they're not going to be smart people.
That is unfair.
That's very unfair.
Now, this thing. So if I'm moving for tax reasons, Delaware is not a bad choice. But they have 2 Democratic senators, and they only have 1 representative who is a man in a dress.
Oh, lovely.
So that you're probably not getting.
Yeah.
Right.
So the fact that Biden was the senator from Delaware,
and the Biden still, I don't know. I'm sure the Biden crime family has lost a lot of power.
It doesn't speak well for Delaware.
But they have, held a grip on the state for a long time.
I have some friends who live in Delaware, and I would think highly of Delaware simply because it's more agricultural, it's more rural, there's a lot of farms, and you'd think that it would be a conservative state, but they voted Joe Biden into office.
Joe Biden, like I said, had a man in a dress.
Yeah.
So, all right, now how about this? So that was a speculation about maintaining your local ties.
Yeah.
Let's just say you're just the kind of guy who doesn't really want to who's burned some bridges.
Yeah.
And really doesn't want to maintain law. So there's nothing regional keeping you here.
Yeah.
Where would you consider, if you're leaving the state, thinking about everything, geography, politics, at all? So
because of my complexion, I really don't want to be in the South, in the deep South.
Florida is not really.
I love Florida, but I love Florida for a week or two at a time. Yeah. And I don't want to be in Florida. I don't want to be in Texas. I don't want to be down there where I'm going to be burnt all the time. So I kind of like North Carolina, that kind of area. Okay. And I kind of like Montana, Wyoming, that kind of area.
That's where I'm leaning.
Yeah.
I think if I'm just going to scrub my mind of local contact, I'm thinking Wyoming, Idaho, Montana.
That would be an interesting
change. Of course, I've never done a full winter there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I have to, with the caveat of, I'm not committing to this for more than 1 year, and then I will decide, because I've never. You know what else? I love New England, but if I'm escaping Maryland for the politics,
I know you're not getting any.
That
better
ain't the place to go.
I know, yeah. And Wyoming, Montana, I can ride a horse, but I'm not like a good horse rider.
But you can learn.
You probably.
I mean, pick it up. Yeah. Now, do you remember where he did this show about Greater Idaho?
Yeah.
And it was about secession and what are the legal parts of moving out of of getting your state to become part of another state.
Right.
So
it's difficult.
It's
very, very difficult.
Oregon politics are horrible, but they're all completely dominated by the coast.
Yeah.
And so the eastern 3/4 would love to be a part of Idaho.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yes.
So you've come up with this idea of what if Marylanders could pick and choose what state they would come from.
Yeah, so Western Maryland.
We have some great maps here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put these on the YouTube version so you can see these maps. Western Maryland, Washington, Allegheny, and Garrett County have actually started a movement to try to become part of West Virginia. Now, it's not going to happen because it's very, very difficult. It's the United States of America. Right. States have a lot of rights in the country.
And so the point is, Maryland is deep blue, but that deep blueness is highly concentrated.
Yes, it's in the middle.
It's in all the middle. Central Maryland.
Western Maryland is conservative, and the Eastern Shore is conservative. So, if we were to follow this along, and like the western part of Maryland, Washington, Allegheny,
if they were allowed to vote and choose,
they would probably go into West Virginia. Now, there isn't a comparable movement on the Eastern Shore to leave Maryland. However,
if you offer to do them,
because they don't like the Annapolis government because it doesn't represent. The people who run things in Annapolis don't understand the life and the concerns of the people on the Eastern Shore because it's mostly agricultural. It's a different kind of a lifestyle. So I'm picturing a scenario where we lose Western Maryland to West Virginia and we lose Eastern Maryland to Delaware.
Yeah.
And then we get this new Maryland.
Right.
And then why don't we also, as long as we're doing this, just take back the District of Columbia.
Yeah.
And add that back to Maryland.
Right, because they've been griping about no representation.
Not being a state.
And,
that's right. Yeah.
And Montgomery Montgomery County and Prince George's County live off of
the district.
The district, so they shouldn't have any problem with that.
Exactly. So let's just take Western Maryland, give it to West Virginia.
And so
take the Eastern Shore, give it to Delaware, and then combine what's left of Middle Maryland with the District of Columbia.
Yes, the Central Maryland plus the district. They're not losing a lot. They're losing a lot of land, but not a lot of population. Really.
No, not a lot of population.
Okay, so the question is here to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Now that we've redrawn the map of Maryland, now you have a chance to stay within previous Maryland.
Yeah.
Well, now where are you moving?
I'm moving to Washington County, Maryland, to be in West Virginia. Absolutely.
I'm here. You like Hagerstown?
Yeah, exactly.
And up there.
Yeah.
Yes, so you're in Old Maryland. You're on the Potomac River.
Yeah,
and
not far from people I know.
And you easily pop back into the cesspool of Central Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would just be Maryland.
And it's still, even though it's farther, it's still not horribly far from the Chesapeake Bay, which I like to go.
Yes, Chesapeake Bay is it is the beauty of the state, and it would be now divided between New Delaware and Old Maryland.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, Westmore, I hope you are a one-term loser.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service, but you suck.
And still have doubts about this Bronze Star.
Yes. Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.